Dramas with double lives are fun. The hidden identities, the thrill, and the adrenaline that flows through our veins are simply unmatched. Add some tension and romance into the mix, and you've got a very specific kind of taste. One that we'll be diving into in this video. And we're starting things off with Mask. Okay, so the setup here is genuinely unhinged, and I mean that as a compliment. A woman drowning in loan shark debt gets mistaken for the daughter of a powerful politician. The real daughter dies in a freak accident right before her arranged marriage, and suddenly this girl is handed a terrifying choice: become someone else entirely, or watch her family get destroyed. Zue is playing two completely different people inside one body, switching between a terrified girl running from debt collectors and a cold, polished high society heir, and she makes both feel totally real. Ju Ji-hoon plays the man she has to marry. Paranoid, deeply broken, the kind of rich guy whose trust issues have trust issues. The chemistry between them is intense in a very specific way. He is clinging to her for sanity. She is lying to him every single second, and the tension never really lets up. The villain is also doing a lot of work here. The brother-in-law knows the truth, keeps her on a leash, and uses it to run his own schemes. Every scene he shares with Sue feels like a threat wrapped in a polite conversation. Time Between Dog and Wolf has a plot device that I genuinely have not seen executed this well anywhere else in K-drama. Lee Joon-gi plays an elite agent who goes deep undercover inside a criminal syndicate to hunt down the man who murdered his mother. He burns his whole identity, becomes a gangster named K, and slowly earns the mob boss's trust to the point where the guy treats him like a son. Already tense, but then he suffers a severe head injury during a gang war, and the amnesia that follows is insane. He completely forgets he is a spy. He wakes up and genuinely believes he is K the gangster, and now he is loyally protecting the man who killed his mother, with zero awareness of what he is doing. The romance makes it worse, in the best way. The woman he loved before faking his death keeps crossing paths with K, pulled toward him because something in her recognizes him, terrified of him because he is cold and violent and feels nothing for her. That psychological torment is what the show lives on. The bathroom fight scene in episode 4 became one of the most talked about action sequences in K-drama history. Ji Chang-wook, alone, against a full assassination squad, in a hotel bathroom, with no weapons. That scene set the tone for everything that followed, and the K2 largely delivered on that promise. Chang-wook is a former mercenary framed for murder, hiding in Korea under a fake identity, trying to stay invisible. That plan falls apart spectacularly when he ends up on the radar of the most dangerous political wife in the country, who decides it is smarter to own him than kill him. So now he is a bodyguard playing black ops for a woman who would erase him the second he stops being useful. The romance is genuinely creative. The woman he falls for is locked in a mansion, surveilled constantly, barely allowed outside. Their early relationship happens entirely through a security camera. He watches her struggle to cook ramen in an empty kitchen at midnight. He sneakily sets up the ingredients beforehand so she succeeds. She dances alone when it works out, and this stone-cold mercenary is completely gone. It is a small, ridiculous moment inside a very serious thriller, and it lands perfectly. Honest note though, Yuna as the villainous stepmother is so magnetic that a lot of fans ended up more invested in her scenes than the main romance. The psychological chess match between her and Chang-wook is where the show really crackles. Most secret identity dramas put the tension in public spaces. Fancy parties, corporate boardrooms, strangers who might recognize the face. Flower of Evil puts it at the breakfast table. We have a man who has been living under a stolen identity for 15 years. Devoted husband, loving father, talented craftsman. The perfect domestic picture, except his real name is Hyun-soo. He is the son of a serial killer, and the police have been hunting him as a suspect in multiple murders. The woman he is married to is a homicide detective, and she just got assigned the case that leads straight back to him. The show does something most dramas would save for a finale. It lets her find out at the halfway point. She discovers who he really is, and instead of confronting him, she keeps pretending she knows nothing while investigating him from inside their own home. Two people sitting across from each other at dinner, both faking smiles, both falling apart. If you were watching K-dramas in 2011, this one permanently lives in your memory. And if you weren't, this is the one that explains why a generation of fans still talk about Lee Min-ho like he invented the leather jacket. City Hunter gives us a comic book setup. A brilliant graduate secures a job at the South Korea's presidential palace, playing the role of a slightly cowardly, perpetually flirty IT guy. That is the cover. Underneath it, he is a trained assassin systematically dismantling a network of corrupt politicians one by one, using their own secrets against them. The tension in this drama is architectural. It is built into the job descriptions. The woman he is falling for is a presidential bodyguard, meaning her literal professional duty is to protect the exact men he is trying to destroy. Every time she gets between him and a target, she is doing her job perfectly and threatening everything he has worked for. The action is sleek, the pacing is fast, and the forbidden romance angle earns every moment of its tension. This is the blueprint a lot of modern action romance dramas are still borrowing from. The Spies Who Loved Me is about a wedding dress designer finds out her ex-husband is an Interpol agent. Fine. Then she finds out her current husband is a corporate spy working for a criminal intelligence agency. Also fine. And then she has to keep living inside her own marriage, sleeping next to a man she knows is running covert operations, feeding information to her ex on the side, and making sure neither of them realizes how much she actually knows. Because one wrong word gets people killed. The ex versus current husband dynamic is where the show has the most fun. Eric Mun and Ju Hwan are both playing highly trained operatives who have to perform polite civility whenever she is in the room, then immediately switch to barely contained hostility the second she leaves. That push and pull is consistently entertaining. What gives the drama its actual weight is Ju Hwan's Derek. He is cold-blooded in every professional context, but his love for Ah-rem is completely genuine, and watching him terrified that she will look at him differently once she knows the truth adds real emotional texture to what could have been a straightforward villain role. The best way to describe this drama is a stone-cold government ghost who does not legally exist, gets assigned to babysit Korea's most dramatic celebrity, and somewhere between carrying the man's oversized coffee and disarming a sniper team at night, he accidentally falls in love with the manager. Man to Man is about Solwoo, a ghost operative, meaning no file, no record, no identity. His whole skill set is built around becoming whoever the mission needs him to be. His cover here is personal bodyguard to a high-maintenance Hallyu action star, and the comedy writes itself, because this man is running tactical threat assessments in his head while being yelled at about the wrong brand of chicken. The tension with the romance is specifically interesting. He targets Do-ha, the star's fierce, sharp-eyed manager, as a potential obstacle and decides to neutralize her the standard spy way: fake charm, calculated attention, and controlled warmth. The problem is, it stops being calculated somewhere around episode 4, and he has absolutely no framework for what to do about that. A man trained to manipulate emotions discovering he has been caught in his own trap is a genuinely fun tension to watch unravel. It is lighter than most entries on this list, but the identity tension is real. The comedy earns its place, and Park Hae-jin in a suit doing spy work is a very specific kind of watchable. We've reached the top 3 picks on the list, and I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment to like the video, and leave a comment below telling me which drama interests you the most. Alright, Bridal Mask hits differently from everything else on this list. This is a historical epic set during Japanese colonial rule, and the secret identity at its center is one of the most psychologically brutal setups in K-drama history. Kang-to starts the drama as the villain, Korean by blood, but working for the Japanese colonial police force, beating and torturing his own people for promotions. He's a man his community genuinely despises. Then he discovers that the masked vigilante he has been hunting is his own brother, shoots him, watches him die, and, in a moment of complete devastation, picks up the mask himself. So now, he's basically running the task force assigned to catch himself. The woman he loves is a rebel leader who considers Kang-to a soulless monster, and has tried to kill him multiple times. She is also desperately in love with Bridal Mask. He has to stand there in his police uniform and absorb her hatred, knowing he can't say a word. Park Ki-woong deserves special mention as Shunji. He starts off gentle, almost soft, and his slow transformation into an obsessed, psychotic police chief hunting his own best friend is one of the finest villain arcs the genre has ever produced. Heartless City has a reputation that has only grown since it aired. People who watched it in 2013 are still recommending it. People who find it now cannot believe it did not win everything. Jung Kyung-ho as Dr. Sun is the kind of performance that redefines what you think a K-drama lead can do. The setup is noir all the way down. A cold, precise mob boss with dark hair and a knife fights his way to the top of an entire city's drug network, completely untouchable, genuinely terrifying, and secretly a deep-cover cop who has spent years buried so far inside the cartel that the police force itself has almost no record he exists. His handler treats him like a disposable asset. His legal identity is essentially gone, and the syndicate he is dismantling from the inside is massive enough that one wrong move means a blade in a dark alley and no funeral. The atmosphere is doing serious work throughout. Rain-soaked streets, tailored suits, knife fights that feel choreographed like conversations. Every gang meeting is a psychological standoff where one misread expression ends badly, and the ending does not flinch. This is a noir, and it commits to that fully. The number one spot goes to a drama that should not work as well as it does, and somehow works perfectly. My Secret Terrius centers on a legendary Black Ops ghost agent, codenamed Terrius, framed for a mission gone wrong 3 years ago, living completely off the grid in a minimalist apartment, tracking the international hitman who destroyed his life. That is a serious, heavy premise. Then his next-door neighbor is a bubbly, completely overwhelmed mother of chaotic twins. Her husband dies under suspicious circumstances linked directly to Bond's investigation, and his tactical solution is to become the family's live-in babysitter. The comedy earns every laugh, but the tension underneath it never actually disappears. The apartment complex has its own neighborhood watch network that accidentally functions better than the National Intelligence Agency, which means Bond has to constantly outmaneuver soccer moms and group chats just to keep his cover intact. The assassins circling the building are a genuine threat. The conspiracy connecting Aaron's dead husband to Bond's ruined mission gets darker the further the show goes. The stakes are real. The comedy is genuinely funny. And so G-Sub's deadpan delivery against toddler chaos is a television achievement that deserves its D-song. And with that, the list is finished. If you're interested in some mystery thriller dramas next, I'd highly recommend checking out the video on the screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you there.